going on? What is going on? Welcome to the second First Lady Tammy's Book Corner. Yes, I'm back at it again. Yes, I know you guys missed me, but I'm here again to talk to y'all about an amazing book. So have a seat, get a book, get some coffee, get some wine, get some tea, get some hot chocolate, get whatever you need to get so you can get. So thank you for tuning in. Looking forward to talking to y'all about the book that we're going to talk about this week. But I'm not here by myself. I have a guest. I have with me Mr. Best in the World. What's going on, Mr. Best in the World?
What's up? You know what I mean?
How are you?
I'm good. You know what I mean? Let's get the book going. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Shout out to Mimsy. I see Mimsy in the chat. Shout out to her.
Shout out to everybody. What's going on, Mimsy? Yep, she's here, y'all. She is the first in the chat. Love it. And she says to smash that like button.
Yes.
Alrighty. So real quick. Just a review of the last book chat, which was the first book chat, the first of many. I did the book Lies My Teacher Told Me. The book was amazing. If you have not picked up the book, you definitely need to pick up the book because it's something it's a hell of a read. It's a heavy book with a lot of good information in it. But it's definitely one you want to pick up. So I talked to you guys last week about the book that I was doing this week. So the book I'm doing this week, let me go ahead and put it up there so y'all can see what it is. Is Blind Spot, Hidden Biases of Good People. Yes, this is the book. This is the book. So if you have not picked up the book, you may want to pick it up after I talk to you guys about it. You may decide, I don't think that book is for me. But it's all up to you, whatever you feel like, you want to do. So looking forward to discussing this one. And I have questions, so you guys don't have like my questions that I go over, and I try to keep the same questions each time.
I have a question, Tammy. Yes. I have a question. I know right out the gate, right? How I don't have a question right out the gate, but I do. Okay, Tammy. So what made you even interested in this book? That's my question. What made you even interested? Because you told me about it, and for the audience who don't know, Tammy tells me about a lot of books. Because I'm an avid reader myself. I've done a lot of things when it comes to literature, whether it's poetry, whether it's spoken word, whether it's debate. I took college English courses in high school, so I really, really love literature and language. I had the second highest reading score in elementary school in the 5th grade. So I love reading. I love it. It was a state exam too. I love reading. They made me stand up in class and all that. But that's enough about me. Listen, what made you, Tammy, interested in this book?
It's very funny you should ask, because guess what? That's our first question.
Hey, we here.
The team is here. How funny is that?
The team is here.
Okay, so I'm trying to think. So my district got me interested in this book. Right around when the George Floyd thing happened, my district, a bunch of the staff, this was during distance learning, we had they got a bunch of staff in the district together, and we had talked about, just different things related to just racism and equity and all these kind of different things. And there was an incident I learned about at a high school that happened at a high school in the district. And it was a very disturbing incident. Made me glad to be on the panel, because not really on the panel, in the group, because there wasn't really a whole lot of Black people in the group. So you couldn't really get the perspective of somebody about the incident who was not Black, because if you weren't Black, you really didn't. You might have felt bad about it, but it didn't really hit you like if you were Black. So just like George Floyd, if you were not Black, you probably were upset about it. It probably bothered you to see it. But if you're Black, that whole thing just hit you differently. It just hit you differently. So they decided to do a bunch of different book studies. And so one of the books was a Lies My Teacher Told Me book. And the other book was this book, Blind Spot. I wish I had something I could have it where like hanging down so you guys can constantly see it, but I'll just every now and then I just bring it up and put it in the camera for you. But this was one of the books that was there. And I don't know, I like to read these books just to kind of see the perspective of the book. There's another book that they did called White Fragility. Why is it so hard for white people to talk about race? That's a really, really good book. I may have to go over that.
That title alone got me intrigued. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that book right there. And I mean, there's things in there it says that make sense. So, for example, if you ever watch a video where there's a Karen, and they've done something that they know is not appropriate, and you call somebody racist, they have to defend themselves about why they're not racist. So they will give you a list of all these different things to let you know I can't be racist because I do all these really, really great things. And for them, racism is equal to is bad, and not being racist is good. So in their mind, I do so many good things that I cannot be racist. So you're calling me racist, but I do a bunch of good things. How could you call me that? Let me tell you all these great things I've done. So you'll think, okay, yeah, they did a bunch of good things, so they can't be racist. But it's not about how many good things you've done. That's not what it is. So it's interesting when they have that. Let me defend my whiteness. Let me defend it for you. So this was one of the Blind Spot was one of the books, and so the title was interesting, but even the subtitle where it says "Hidden Biases of Good People," I thought was very interesting, just because I feel like people do have biases, and then they don't realize it. Even us as Black people can have biases towards other races and not really realize it. You can have biases even if it's not about race. It could be about, gender. It could be about sexuality. It could be about even about jobs. That the certain type of job you have, you look down on somebody else because of the kind of job they have. So there's all kinds of biases that you may have that you don't realize that you have. So that's why the subtitle "Hidden Biases of Good People" kind of stood out to me, because that's the whole thing. You think if you're a good person, you don't have any negative anything. You associate negativity with bad people, and people want to do bad things. So if you consider yourself a good person, you might be surprised to see that you have any type of bias. So that's what got me interested in reading the book. And it's interesting because, with this book corner, I could just review just any type of book. I could say, let me go get a book from the bookstore and tell you guys about the book. But I kind of felt I wanted books that were not really known and people hadn't really heard of, or if they've heard of it, like when I did my other one, I think it was Arshawn said that he had gotten the book Lies My Teacher Told Me from somebody.
Shout out to Arshawn Dave.
Yeah, he said, who did I say?
He said Arshawn. He's in the comments, so you see him. Shout out to Arshawn.
He said he had gotten the book from somebody, but he didn't open it. He didn't read it. So my thing is that I feel like it's a book that needs to be read by as many people as possible, especially that first book. I'm telling you, it's going to be hard to really top that first book. So it's interesting. I was talking to my brother about the book. My brother has read Lies My Teacher Told Me. And he was saying that, the interesting thing with a history book, like a math book is written by mathematicians, right? But history books, like the history books we get like in schools, a lot of times are not written by historians. So it's interesting that you have a book about history not written by people that specialize in history. So so it's just very interesting. My brother's very informative. If he was out here, I would have him get on the podcast, because he'd be a very knowledgeable person to talk to about a lot of different things. My brother is very, very smart. He lives in Germany right now, so that's not an option. But yeah, so that's why this book in title intrigued me, because I don't believe I have any type of biases. To be perfect. I mean, I'm not perfect, but I feel like I don't really have any type of biases. But you never know. You get a book like this, and it might prove you different. So, So anyway, so yeah, that's why I chose the book. And I was able to get the audio copy. So I don't know. I know on Audible has a lot of audio versions of books. So like Lies My Teacher Told Me had the audio version of that. Blind Spot has the audio version of that. I haven't looked to see about the next book, if there's the audio version of that one. But for me, that's a little bit easier because I can just listen to it whenever I'm just doing whatever I'm doing. So, and I think my mother, she has it where when she's listening to a book, it can play throughout her house. So, which is nice because you can be doing whatever
That's
you're
cool.
doing.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, and I like that too. So, so like I'll listen to the book on my way to work, or if I'm on my way somewhere, I'll listen to a book. But yeah, so that's what got, and it says it's a New York Times bestseller. That's what it says at the top. But you can't really trust that because just because it's a New York Times bestseller don't make it a really, really great book. It just means a lot of people bought the book. Don't mean that it's a great, great book. So, so yeah. So anyway, so yeah, that's my reasoning and my motivation for wanting to read the book. And just because I feel that these type of books, and I think I said it a minute ago, are books that need to be read because they're not known about. Like if I hadn't gotten this through the book study, I would never known about it. Just like Lies My Teacher Told Me, I would have never known about it had I not found out about it through the book study. So, I mean, there are so many other kind of books, but a lot of times people don't take the time to pick up a book until they know what the book is about. So to hear somebody speak about the book, I feel like motivates somebody to read the book more, because a lot of times you're going to look at the inside of the book to see what the book is about, but it only gives you a limited bit of information. So by me doing these book corners that I do, it really gives you a lot of insight into the book, what the book is about, what the book is talking about, and just different highlights and things like that. So, so yeah. Shout out to R. Sean Dave, says, "Hey, yo, what it is, what it was, what it be like."
Hey, what's going on, brother?
In R. Sean, he said, "I'll be listening in a minute. Rico in my ear." Love it. Thank you very
Shout out
much.
to Rico and our Sean. Shout out to my definitely.
Thank you. So yeah, so that's that was my motivation for reading the book. That was my motivation for reading the book. So this is I was looking forward to this question, even though I put in it. What did I like or dislike about the book? So let me see. So I'm laughing. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. So I got, as I was listening to the book, I felt like the book was more of a workbook than like a pleasure reading book. So, and I say that because there's something called an IAB, which is it's something that you do that helps you to see what type of biases you have. So, and it's something you can do online. I guess I should have posted it in here, but what happens
is it like a list? Okay, so can you like write inside of the book?
It's IAT. It's IAT. What'd you say?
Can you like write inside of the book actually? Like,
oh yeah, well, it has like you can write inside the book. Yeah, not a lot of places. There's some, but not a lot of places. Like for instance, here, let me show you real quick. So like it has this. So this right here. So this, what it is, this is this is called I think it's internal, not aptitude. I can't remember what it's called.
Shout out to DJ Eddie King. We see DJ Eddie King.
What's going on, DJ Eddie King? Tammy, I see you, girl. What's going on? Cheer. Let me so let me here. I'm gonna drop this down. There we go. I'm trying to think what it's the so the IAT.
It's like a kind of like a, I don't want to call it a literature exercise. Maybe I'm just being too basic.
No, that makes a lot of sense. The literature exercise. So so what it is, so pretty much when it talks about biases, it's talking about how you may have a particular, even if you're Black, you might have a bias towards white people, even though you're Black, even though you may be all about Black power, Black history, all these kind of different things, you may have an internal bias that you didn't realize you have towards Black people. So the bias, the little exercise it does in here helps you to see if you have a bias towards people that are lighter skinned or people that are white. So it has that. So it's interesting because I did it and it showed that, but I thought it was just really weird. I don't know. For me, it was weird just because when it comes to doing a test, so you have to, oh, there you go, the internal association test. That's what it is. So you have to associate certain things. So it has words that are good and words that are positive and words that are bad and words that are negative, and you're associating it with one or the other. So what happens is the quicker you are able to make the associations is how they determine if there is a bias there or not. So, but what happens is if you're somebody who can make those quick associations very quickly, in my mind, I wouldn't say that shows that I have a bias towards white people. I think that just means I can make associations very quickly. So
yeah,
I mean, do that very fast.
If you see a bunch of guys walking down the street and they all have hoodies on and they playing some crazy music and you kind of start smelling some different substances and they're not smiling at all and they got like a Rottweiler with them, they got some pit bulls and they coming down the block, you may start thinking certain things, you know what I mean? Because in our mind, you know what I mean, we at times, you know, we trying to, the element is to live, right? So if you see something that might potentially may stop that or may put that in harm, you gonna have a reaction. You know what I'm saying? Or if you see somebody and you know they have a 3-piece suit on, you know what I mean? You see they have the cufflinks and all that, you know, and they look a certain way and they have the briefcase, you're gonna think this, and they have like a really like expensive watch and you could tell it's expensive.
Right.
You're gonna think that this person is an executive somewhere. You're gonna think of certain things. There's just gonna be it brings a certain reaction out of people just naturally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now they could just be a regular person. They could be homeless. You never know. But just seeing certain things, our minds automatically are going to switch to certain things, and the book speaks to that a lot, like how we can prejudge things. You know?
Right. And so that leads me to the whole what I like. So I do agree with what you said. When you see certain things, it can make you look at things a certain way, look at a certain kind of person a certain kind of way. But then we have those stereotypes. So those stereotypes are things that may make us prejudge somebody just based on what we hear. So for instance, they have certain things about certain types of people are slow drivers, certain types of people are better at math. Which, I mean, to be perfectly honest, when I was in school, those certain kind of people were good in math. I'm not going to say who they are, but I'm just saying that they were good in math. They just were. But yeah, those certain type of stereotypes they can kind of mold your judgment in a way. So when you see somebody like that, you automatically think that that person is like what that stereotype is, even if you really have no idea who they are or anything like that. But as soon as you see them, automatically you get that, okay, they must be like this. So, but yeah, so I would say as far as the dislike, that was what I kind of didn't like. And maybe it was because I was listening to it. Maybe if I was reading it, it would have been a little bit different. But because I was listening to it, the whole workbook aspect of it for me took away my enjoyment of the book that I would have liked to have. Arshawn Day says history books are not written by historians. Yeah, no, they're not. They're not written by historians. And so it's interesting. So here's the interesting thing. So we're going back to the other book. So if you think about it,
Oh, you're muted. Okay.
oh, did I mute myself? Okay,
Yeah, you
sorry.
did.
So what was the last thing I said? What was
You
the
was
last
talking
thing I
about
said?
as soon as you said the thing about the historians, you was about to answer the question, you cut off.
Okay, yeah. So it's not written by historians. And then what's interesting is, and I was talking to my brother about this, is that where people of color have gotten to, just in general, just where they are in the world and technology, all you kind of different things, is not because of people that are not of color. So technology, where technology has gotten is not because of people that are not of color. It's because of people that are of color, why people are where they are today. So whether they're African American, whether they're Asian American, whether they are Hispanic, they have all contributed to where other people are today, if that makes kind of sense. So even if you look at like the White House, that was built by African Americans. It wasn't built by people that are not African American. And I'm trying to use my words to not say other things. But it's just interesting because a lot of where they are is because of people of color, not because they were the first to do something. It's because somebody who was a person of color did it first, and then you added to that. But a person of color did it first before you even did anything. So I thought that was just very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. So anyway. Yeah, so it's not written by historians, but it's an amazing book. It is an amazing book. Knowledge and Relationship says, sorry I'm late tuning in. I just got my new phone today. Thank you for tuning in, and congratulations on your new phone. I know what that's like. To get a new phone. It's nice to get a new gadget. Hopefully you don't want to toss yours at the wall like I did. And then Absalom says, respect to the chat. So thank you for tuning in. If you have not hit the like button, please hit the like button. Go ahead and hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Yes, and shouting out to Knowledge and Relationships. Alrighty, so yeah, so that was, I'd say, what I didn't really like, because when I do read a book, I kind of want to just read the book without having to do any extra work, if that makes sense. So if I feel like I got to do extra work, it makes it a little bit less enjoyable than I would like it to be. So yeah. All righty. So, as far as what I like, yeah, I did like that it talked about stereotypes. And so and it has a specific section that says how accurate are stereotypes. And the reality is that stereotypes aren't, let me say it this way. They're stereotypes. Stereotypes come from somewhere. Let me say it that way. So the stereotypes don't just appear just out the middle of nowhere. Stereotypes come from somewhere. So at some point there was somebody that fit that stereotype, but that's not to say that everybody will fit that stereotype. That's why I'm very against blanket statements. I cannot stand blanket statements because there's always somebody who is the exception to the rule. So when you have this blanket statement, it's almost like you're saying that everybody fits in there, and that's just not the case. There's always somebody who does not. So yeah, so as far as what I like that it does talk about the different biases that people have. I do like that it talks about the different stereotypes. One of the things it does in the book is, so I watched Seinfeld. I don't know if other people watch it, but a lot of people probably wouldn't watch it. But are you there, Best in the World?
Yes, I'm just putting my headset on. Hold on.
Okay. So yeah, I watch Seinfeld, and I watch reruns of that just because, I don't know, I think the show is kind of funny. But so there's a thing in the book, and with the next question, I'll kind of go over what it says.
I love Seinfeld too, by the way.
Okay, nice. So yeah.
Costanza.
Yes. Oh man, yes. Okay, so let me get to the next question so I get on to my point that I was saying. Okay, so what are my favorite quotes that I like to book? So back to the Seinfeld thing. So the reason I brought that up, because in the book it has a chapter that starts out with, not that there's anything wrong with that. And I like that. And I'll tell you why that's my favorite quote, not just from what I'm going to say from Seinfeld. So there is an episode where George and Jerry, they're in this restaurant that they always go to, and the person behind them they think is being nosy. So they make it seem like they are a couple, which they're not a couple. So they find out later on that she writes a column or something, or she's a reporter. And so they try to convince her that they are not a couple. And so they continue to say, not that there's anything wrong with that, as if to say that, that's not what we are, but if you are, that's okay. So I'd say that's probably my favorite quote because that is something that you will often hear from somebody when it comes to trying to make it seem like they're okay with something because they think that you're uncomfortable with it. So like when somebody says something, like in this case about somebody being gay, if you act like you have, let me change the word. If you are friendly with the same people, let me say it that way. So if you're friendly with the same people, some people may say, oh, I'm not. If you're suspected that you are, if somebody looks like, oh, you must be, like, oh, I'm not. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that's not me. So this is a statement that people use to say, I may not be, but if you are, that's okay and that's fine. And so it's a way that it's something that could be said to either because you really are saying, hey, if that's what you like, that's what you like, or you're saying it because you say, well, let me say this so that I'm okay with it if you are, so you don't say or do anything against me to make me look a certain kind of way, because I don't want people to have an opinion about me because I feel a certain kind of way. So hold on one second. We got a guest. Let me break for a guest. We got Queen.
What's up, peoples?
Hey, Queen. What's going on? How you doing, girl?
Blind spot. Talk to me, baby. Blind spot.
Hi, Queen in the building. Hi, good to see you, Queen. Queen, I like those shades. Where you get those shades from, Queen?
Wait, what? What happened?
The shades you got on the picture. Those shades you got on the picture. Where you get them shades from?
The sage?
No, your shades. The shades you have on in the picture.
Don't worry about all that. Don't worry
I'm just asking the questions, Queen. That's all I'm asking.
You gotta be flossy out here in these streets.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Hey, shout out to She Stole My Thunder. Hey, She Stole My Thunder. What's going on, sister?
She Stole My Thunder.
What's going on? She Stole My Thunder.
I wonder why. What happened?
Huh?
What thunder did she take from you?
That's a very, very good question.
I think she's trying to say somebody she stole somebody's thunder. I think it's
Please feel free to expand on that if you would like to. And Archon is also shouting you out. Says, hey, She Stole My Thunder. Alrighty. So like I was saying, so I'd say that not that there's anything wrong with that. I'd say is a quote that I liked from the book. Because like I said, it's something that somebody says to make it seem like they're okay with something, when in reality, they may not be. But they don't want you to think they're not okay with it, because if you think they're not okay with it, they don't know what you're going to say or what you're going to do. So it's like, let me make you think that I'm comfortable with this so that you'll be comfortable with me. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Thank you. Let me lie to you. So, but yeah, no, that episode of Seinfeld is very, very, very good. I mean, there's a few different episodes of that show, but I'm not going to get into that because we ain't talking about Seinfeld. We're talking about a book. So that was one of the quotes that.
Hey, Tammy, she's explaining. She's explaining what she said.
Oh, I steal thunder, hearts, and lots of other things. I'm a versatile woman. Okay.
Okay, great. Just let us know if you need bail bond money, because
there you go. There you go. So now what I will say is not necessarily a quote, but there are certain sections of the book that I will say I really like. So they have the appendix. How do you say that as a plural? Appendixes or
appendix.
There you go. So they have a few of those in the back, and so one of them talks about are Americans racist? So it's a whole section. And this is the thing, like, so with the other book, I kind of read some things. And with this one, I don't necessarily really want to. I want to give you a hint of what's in the book, so to motivate you to read the book. But yeah, so I'll just read some of the headings that are in here. So real quick. So Archon says, hey, I like that She Stole. Love it. I'm well. How are you? Okay, so one of the subtitles is widespread overt racism before 1950. And let's see. And then it says evolution of racial attitudes from 1950 to 2000. And then it has a couple questions in here. Like it says, do you think white students and black students should go to the same schools or to separate schools? And do you think that white people have a right to keep blacks out of their neighborhoods if they want, and blacks should respect that right? Also, real quick, one other thing that was in the book that that I liked. So there was a quiz that was done that was asking about attitudes towards African Americans. And one of the things I thought was interesting in the book was that when the person handing out the test was African American, there was a lot more positive feedback from the test. But when the person passing out the test was not African American, there was a lot less positive feedback. I thought that was really, really, really interesting. And it goes back to the whole, not that there's anything wrong with that, because once again, you see people are acting a certain kind of way to make you think that they're comfortable so that you'll be comfortable. But in reality, not comfortable at all. They're only going to say what they think is going to make you be okay, so you don't come at them, because you know they have the whole angry black woman thing. And
yeah, what do you mean? When they were passing out the test, they had positive feedback.
So the questions were about black students and how they feel about black students being in classes, and just black students in general at their school. So they had like two groups of people. They had two groups. So in the first group, it was a black person that was passing out the test.
And who were the people taking the test?
So they were
all
students.
Races?
No, they were Capricorns.
Okay.
No, they were Caucasian.
Oh, okay.
So, so when it was a black person that was passed out the test, there was a lot more positives about, wanting to see more students at school, liking that African American students are. But when the person was not African American, it was very different.
Because how they felt really came out.
Right.
Because so it was the teacher looked like them.
Right. So it was very interesting. Because like I said, it goes back to the whole, not that there's anything wrong with that, because you're gonna say what you think makes the other person comfortable. You don't feel like you're in a certain situation. So like I said, in that episode, that's called The Outing, if anybody wants to know. So
wow.
So yeah, it's really, really interesting. I mean, I can't say I'm surprised.
No,
I can't
never.
say I'm surprised. You can't really be surprised by it.
No, you can't.
But yeah, I wasn't surprised, but I still find it interesting.
You know what's funny is that when I know people, and it's been on the news, like when people getting their house appraised, it was a black couple, and when the appraiser came, they rated their house lower, like gave them a lower rate for their appraisal. But when they had their friends sit in who were white and they pretended that they owned the house with the pictures and everything, the appraisal was like much, much more. So I think it's crazy. Because I can say I'm white. I ain't gotta, I can check any box, right? So, and if you discriminate, I'll see you in court. I'm on a sue mission. Don't make me sue you.
There you go.
I need a big payback, a big payout.
Yes.
But anyway.
Okay, so She Stole My Thunder says, at Queen Forever 2K. I'll keep that in mind. Let's hope I never get caught.
That's right, girl. That's right.
Yeah. I love it.
Move and shake like Catwoman. You good. Cat eye. Get your cat eye on, girl.
Okay, so real quick, I want to read this part in the book. I know I said I wasn't reading a bunch of stuff, but I'm reading one thing. Before I do, Arshawn says, what if neither is their true feeling, but how they acted to both black and white was them saying what they thought was expected, so they think white people are anti-black and project and perpetrate. Very, very interesting, because I can see where he says they're saying what they thought was expected. I could see that. I could see that. It's a black person passing out, the test. So you think that there is an expected way you're supposed to answer, and then
Sean, we ain't trying to hear you right now. Don't come on this panel with your 6 foot thinking self. gonna take us down to the equator. Nah, we ain't trying to hear that. Nope. Get out of here.
That's hilarious. We ain't having it. We ain't having it. I love it. I love it. Hold on, let me go back to my little banner. Okay, so there's one thing in here that I do want to read. So it says, so it's talking about a test that some people took, and it says some people say that because of past discrimination, Blacks should be given preference in hiring and promotion. Others say that such preference in hiring and promotion of Blacks is wrong because it discriminates against whites. What about your opinion? Are you for or against preferential hiring and promotion of Blacks? I thought this is really interesting because in here it says that when you do give preference, then you're discriminating against whites. And I find it interesting.
So what? It's about time, man. We get discriminated every day. Give me my glow up. Promote me because of my melanin, okay? Promote me.
You're so funny. So hold on a second. It says the study's results showed that white respondents were less opposed to preferential hiring when it benefited women than when it benefited Blacks. So it says, from this finding, the authors concluded in the front of the cover that the finding that people are more opposed to affirmative action programs for Blacks versus women is one of the most compelling indicators that race remains a factor driving opposition to affirmative action. So very, yeah.
See what I mean? No. Give me my promotion because of my melanin is popping. Okay. It's smooth and silk like caramel. Give me my promotion. I don't care. No. Y'all done oppressed me enough. I'm good. I'm good. Give it to me.
I love it. So yeah, and then so there's other subtitles in here. It says unobtrusive research methods, answering the question, and I think that's about the hidden biases. So yeah, and then there's another appendix that says race disadvantage and discrimination. So there's a lot of tidbits and things in here that are good to read, I would say. But as far as those and the quotes that I read, the quotes that I say I like the most from the book. But once again, if I go back to the likes and dislikes, the dislike would be the whole workbook aspect of it. And the likes are the different things it talks about the biases, because once again, you may have a bias and not realize that you have it. And there are certain stereotypes that you may fit with somebody, even just because of the way they look, which is what we do. But it's interesting how those stereotypes, how they can be very damaging. So the book, like I said, the book goes into a lot of detail. And I kind of want to go over more, but I'm not going to as far as that, because I feel like if I do too much, then it leaves too little. And so I want to give people a hint to read the book, and then leave it where there's still things for them to learn, and I haven't told them every single thing.
So why didn't you like the workbook aspect of it?
Because it was a lot. So it wasn't like one or two times. It was like quite a few different times. There were workbook parts of it. And so when I'm reading a book, I like to read the book. I mean, if there is that type of workbook, I mean, it can be like once, but if it's like a few different times throughout the book, now I can't just sit and enjoy the book. Now I have to actually do something else with the book. Yeah. So, but I will say, I do think the IAT, because it has a bunch of them in here to do.
What's
I do
IAT?
think so. It's it's an internal. Oh goodness. Oh, association test. There it is. So it's you associating certain words with certain pictures. So or certain words with other words. So so what happens is it might have words that are very positive and associating them with white, and then words that are negative associated with them with black. And then it kind of mixes it up. And then it sees if you can what your associations are. So based on the results of that, you're able to see if you have certain biases towards certain types of people. So, and you can actually look it up online. You can go online and do the IAT, and it has it for all different kinds. So it has it for sexuality. It has it for gender. It has it for people that are thin, people that are bigger. It has it for people that are short, people that are, it has all different kinds that you can do to see if you have a certain bias towards a certain group. So, I mean, it's interesting when you go in there and see the different biases you have, because you might be surprised. Because even if you are African American, you might have a bias towards people that are not African American, or you might have a bias towards people that are. So it's interesting because when I do it, it showed that I have a slight bias towards people that are Caucasian, which I don't, that's the thing, is that I don't think I do, but I guess maybe I do. But for me, when I do a test, I can do the associations very quickly. So for me, I feel like that's why, but you know, according to the book, that's not why. According to the book, it's because you have certain bias. You don't
Okay, First Lady, you got some biases.
Well, you know, my dad is actually my dad is half white, actually. So not saying that, you know, that's where that comes from, but yeah, so it's just very interesting. I think the book is just interesting overall.
I think everyone has biases.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how much and how intense.
Yeah.
You know, we're built on bias, you know.
Right.
You know, you're better than this, or you're less than this. Where you live, financially, economically.
If you guys hear snoring, that's my dog in the back, by the way.
Oh, is it the gray one we saw, right?
Yeah, and he's snoring.
That dog is so sweet.
He snores like a grown man. So.
Oh, hell, the Queen Five. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So. You said something right tonight, Rashawn.
Yes.
Don't get her started, please.
No, that's right. 2K and beyond, baby. I'm Buzz Lightyear, baby.
I love it. Okay, so would I recommend the book? Why or why not? So first of all, I will always recommend a book that talks anything about race and seeing what kind of things need to be seen that are not seen. So that's the first thing. So I would absolutely recommend this book, just because I feel that if you are somebody who so strongly feels you don't have a bias, you'd be a perfect person to read the book, to see that you may have a bias and not realize it. So you may act a certain kind of way and not realize you act that way towards a certain kind of person. And so the book does talk about ways that, you know, you can try to not have those biases, but it's just kind of hard because some of those are kind of built in. But also for even, like I said, the stuff in the appendix that talks about, you know, how racism is still a thing. And some people try to deny that it's a thing. That discrimination is still a thing. And some people try to deny that that's a thing. So so I feel like this, along with the other book that I did, is one that you'd want to read. There's a lot of good information in here. And so, like I said, I don't want to give too much information, because if I give too much information, I might as well just read the book on the thing. So, but yeah, so because I believe that bias is something that everybody has, may or may not be aware of. It could be something that you want to fix. It could be something that you need to realize. But it's definitely something you need to look at and you need to discover and you need to delve into about why you have it and the reason behind it. Not that there's anything wrong with that. So I would recommend this book. Now, if you are not a fan of the workbook aspect, you could probably skip it. So let me, real quick, I'm going to show you guys real quick. So this is one of them. If you guys, I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we can see it.
This is what it looks like. This is just one. There's about 4 or 5 of them in the book. So so what happens is you're going to check one side or the other, and then based on your results, it'll tell you what your biases is. But I would say this is better to do it online, because at the end, it automatically tells you if you have a certain bias towards one group or another. And in here, you kind of have to add it up, and it tells you different things. So yeah.
That's cool. So
What's up?
is that all your questions?
No. So okay. almost done. So this book was a little bit not as thick. So I feel bad because I feel like my book corner should be longer. I feel like I should have a lot more to say, but I don't for this book. That's not really sad. That's awesome. So real quick, the next book. Oh, no. Sorry. How would I compare this book to Lies My Teacher Told Me? You know what? I put this question and gosh. How would I
do you feel like it's on par with Lies My Teacher? Do you feel like there's
you know, I do. Well, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. Lies My Teacher Told Me is a really amazing book because it really talks to you about the real history that really happened rather than what you read in the book. So I could see you reading Lies My Teacher Told Me and really thinking about, like, let's say you're not in school anymore. Let's say it's been, I graduated high school in 99. So it's the kind of book that would make me think about what was in the history books and the things I was taught. And then that book would make me motivated to do research about things that it talks about in the book, about things that, it says that, that like Christopher Columbus, there's so much in there about Christopher Columbus. And then if you read your history book, they say the things they say to make it seem like America is just the most amazing place, definitely the place you want to be. And in reality, it's not as picture perfect as it's explained in the history book. So
how dare you? It's the land of milk and honey.
Yeah, Lies My Teacher Told Me it's a really good book. It's just this book is not. They're different. They're very different. So I can't really compare the two because they're so different in what they're discussing. The Lies My Teacher Told Me is more about this is what history really is, rather than what you were taught. So let me tell you about what really happened, so you know the truth. And in a way, Blind Spot is doing that as well as by saying, these are the hidden biases that you have. So let's tell the truth about the biases that you have that you don't think you have. So I say that's how they could be similar. What were you going to say, Queen?
Oh, I was going to say, like, is the bias is the teacher not teaching you the truth.
There you go. See, there you go. So yeah, so they are connected in that way. And I like that you did that. Thank you very much.
I got you, girl.
Thank you very much.
We are the #1 book club on these YouTube streets. Check us out. There you go.
Yeah, so
Pipe bomb.
I love Queen. I do. I love Queen. I feel
Don't
like
play with me. Now you're gonna love me more when I actually get the book and read it. I can come in and participate all day, but I actually want to, know what you're talking about and understanding it. So there you go.
Well, Queen, I appreciate you coming on and discussing questions. And I appreciate that because, not everybody, is going to come on and talk about a book. Some people talk about books and, they start talking about books and find things to talk about, and interject other things in there. But, that's the thing is that when it comes to books, I want the books that I talk about to be books that you really want to read and are going to teach you something. It's really great to have a book that you read for pleasure.
Yeah.
But I think a book that really teaches you something and something that you can hold on to, something that years down the line is something you'll still remember and something you can use, I think that's very powerful. So I think these books are very powerful books. And I feel like these are books that people need to know about that they don't necessarily know about. Like for me, I said in the beginning, I chose the book because the district I work for, they did a bunch of book studies. And so this was one of the books for the book study. And Lies My Teacher Told Me was also another book for the book study. So these books are books I feel like people need to know about. And that's the thing is that people hear about it and they're like, man, I think I need to read that because I think that sounds like something I really want to be informed about, especially now, where we're trying to learn so much more about our history. I mean, there are definitely things that that we need to do, and there are books we need to read. So anywho, so as far as the comparison, The bias, as far as what lovely Queen said, as far as your teacher not teaching you what they needed to, yes, definitely. But yeah, Lies my teacher told me, like, that book, I mean, that's a hell of a book. It's a hell of a book.
It's the sad thing about it is that they really stand on the lies. They really, it's really like, what do you mean? Like, almost to the point where they're oblivious because
Right.
they believe their own smoke.
Right.
You know, they believe their own mirage. It's like,
Right.
when you see a mirage, you think it's real, but it's not. And you run, you do what you got to do to get to that water. And then when you got a mouthful of sand, you still believe the next one is not a mirage. Like, you really believe your own hype.
Right.
You know? And it's so disgusting. I'm so but you know, I think the good thing is promoting reading. Like, I mean, this is a little side note. I want everyone to Google this, or YouTube it. There is a 5-year-old Black boy who is giving a presentation on reading, and you should hear how he communicates. You should hear his pronunciation. You should hear the clarity of his speech. And he's not reading anything, but he's talking about it as a little boy who loves to read and what it has given him. It's given him confidence. It's given him a higher vocabulary. And he's so cute because he has the voice of a little 5-year-old and he's standing on a desk because he's little, you know. But Google it. You have to watch that. It's so cute. And he's talking about the importance of reading.
Love it. Okay, so real quick, one thing I may start doing for my book corner is that if there's a certain amount of people that get the book, we can have it to where we are discussing the book and like certain chapters and have questions for certain chapters. I wouldn't mind. I would like to do that on my book corner. So that's what's going to happen is that, you know, people tell me, yeah, I'm going to go get the book, and we get the book and we can all discuss it and say, let's talk about this chapter. I mean, and where it might be like over a couple of weeks, we focus on one chapter of the book at a time. So that way, if there's somebody who's not able to get the book, they can still get the information and the in-depth discussion that we're going to have that goes along with the book, because I don't want people to miss out on the book. So yeah, that's something that may happen in the works. You know, I hate to say what will happen, because, you know, sometimes it's best to keep things to yourself. We'll leave it at that. Sometimes it's best not to say certain things, but, you know, hey. Anyway. Okay, so next book. So next book is, now this book, I have not read this book yet. So Blind Spot I'd read, Lies my teacher told me I read. The book that we're gonna be doing next week, I have not read yet, but I'm gonna be reading, and this is the book, you guys. This is the book. Me and My White Supremacy. It says, combat racism, change the world, and become a good ancestor. So this is the book that I'm going to be going over next week. Now, one of the things I want to try to do is when I read a book, if I can contact the author, to have the author come on to discuss their book. Lies my teacher told me I would have did that, but unfortunately that author passed away. And as far as Blind Spot, I didn't even think about it then, but this one I did. So this is the author. Oops, there she is. This is the author right here. Her name is Layla F. Saad. And I sent her an email. So I'm hoping that she responds to my email to let me know she can come on and talk about the book, because I think that would make my book corner so amazing. Not that it's not already amazing, is by having the author of the book come on and talk about their book and answer questions about the book. So that's something that I'm working on, because I do want to set my book corner apart from any other person that is doing something similar. I want to set mine apart by doing that. And even saying that, you know, someone may decide to do that, you know, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. You know, imitation is the best form of flattery. That's what I can say. But I would love it if this author is able to come on. So, like I said, I did send her an email, and I'm probably going to send her another email to see if she's available. Because I think she does a podcast. That's what I was reading. But I would love it if she's able to come on and discuss the book. So she's a writer, a speaker. Yep, and she's a podcast host on topics of race, identity, leadership, personal transformation, and social change. So she also does a podcast. So I think that would be amazing if she's able to come on. So once again, this is the book, you guys. This is the book. The author's name is at the bottom. There it is. The author's name is right there. You want to make sure you go pick this book up. And then that way, if you do pick it up, you are able to get on here and discuss the book with me. But yeah, definitely hoping she can come because that would be awesome. So I'm looking forward to that. So anyway, that is all we have for today. That is all. And I'd love to keep you guys longer, but I'm not going to keep you guys longer because you know what? We're discussing the book. We're highlighting the book. And if you don't know if you want to read the book by the time I'm done, then I don't know what to tell you. So anywho, other than that, we are going to close it out for now. Thank you for coming on, Queen. Thank you for coming on, Mr. Best in the World.
Yes.
Real quick.
I got you, girl. I got this awesome book cover. You know this. Hold on. I do have to say, M3 is doing his damn thing with these little backdrops because the book flipping and the wind blowing, it make me feel like I'm on a beach somewhere where I'm supposed to be reading, but I don't like reading. Reading is for suckers. No, I'm just messing with you. Now I need to read more, but I love the backdrop.
Yeah, no, it was nice. I was like, oh, okay, nice. Okay, so I'm gonna highlight each of you guys so you can say, your social media platforms and things like that before we get out of here. So let me go ahead and not start with me. We'll start with we'll start with Queen first. Go ahead, Queen.
What's up, peoples? On a Tuesday evening, thank you for joining First Lady Tammy's book club, and we look forward to you joining us more every other Tuesday. I don't know what time it starts, but just show the hell up, okay? And be ready to talk. You can follow me on Instagram at QueenForever2K and Knowledge and Relationships platform. You have a great and pleasant night, and good luck with reading and growing your brain. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Queen. That was awesome. Thank you so much. All right, Mr. Best in the World.
Yeah. What's going on, y'all? Y'all know who it is, man. Thank you for being a part of Knowledge and Relationship Experience, as always. Thank you for being a part of Tammy's book club. She has so many more book clubs coming up. You know what I mean? Check her out. You know what I mean? She's gonna be definitely rocking and giving y'all some fresh content. You know what I mean? We're gonna be rocking out as a team, giving you some fresh content, all right? You know what I'm saying? And to other YouTube creators, get yourself a team. You know what I mean? Get yourself a team. I think that would help out a lot. You need a team. Get your dream to happen. Tammy, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Best in the World. All righty. So for those that tuned in, thank you for tuning in. For those that will catch the replay, thank you for catching the replay. You are here with me. I am First Lady Tammy. I am your host for this book corner. I'm here every other Tuesday reviewing an amazing book. Once again, this is the book that I will be going over in 2 weeks. So if you have not picked it up, let me show you guys the author's name. There we go. So Layla F. Saad is the author, and Me and My White Supremacy is the book. So you definitely want to check that out, read it, and we can discuss it. You're more than welcome to get on here. But not only am I here every other Tuesday, I'm also here every other Saturday hosting Ladies Night. And the one that's coming up, the topic is going to be fire, but we're not going to tell you what the topic is. You're just going to see it when you tune in. But other than that, I'm here on Mondays and I'm here on Thursdays. And I'm also on Instagram at First Lady Tammy 916. So if you want to catch me, you can catch me on any one of those places. And other than that, thank you for tuning in. If you have not hit the subscribe or the like button, definitely do that. And while you're doing that, why not hit the notification bell as well so you can be notified on everything that we do. So other than that, thank you so much for Mr. Best in the World and Quee coming on to join me for my book chat. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for people that tuned in. But at this time, we are about to be done. So thank you for tuning in. We will see you next time. Bye. I sent an email, Marion.